Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Page 244. So we are looking to those different schools of Buddhism. And then we saw the similarity with the school of Yogacara, in which everything is consciousness. So that brings it somewhat close to Vedanta. The world is only an appearance that experience. Vedanta agrees with this. The appearance requires a background, a distanam. Distanam is a ground of beingness. So if the world appears as a phenomenal existence, so it requires a ground of existence, a ground of beingness on which the superimposition of the namarupas of the entire cosmos is superimposed. So Vedanta agrees with this, agrees that it requires a distana, and both Yogacara and Vedanta agrees that consciousness is the ground of beingness, the ground of existence of all namarupas. Okay. So what is the difference? We came to that point yesterday, huh? So we saw those logics in terms of if there is a wrong perception or wrong knowledge or wrong apprehension, and then it means to say that there is a contradiction, because if the world does not exist, how can we be here discussing about ignorance or wrong perception? So I was taking the conversation more in terms of the fact that Vedanta points to that which is beyond knowledge and ignorance, but we see in the phenomenal universe, we have how you say, how you put it, you do make mistakes of apprehension all over the place. That's why we say that any mithya knowledge, objective knowledge, dualistic knowledge, scientific knowledge is subject to revision and correction. So we see mithya, only Ishvara has a good knowledge, a perfect knowledge. So the jivas, they try their best, but they get things wrong again and again. So what to say about getting right? What is the real nature of the phenomenal universe, which is the more subtle, the most invisible, and then it ends up sounding more like a philosophy, you know? So I was taking the conversation to the fact that Vedanta is just not concerned about knowledge and ignorance. There is a certain ignorance. There is every piece of knowledge, field of knowledge, to remove bits and pieces of scientific ignorance, the laws that sustains this universe. And there is a fundamental ignorance, which is the subject matter of the Upanishad. The fundamental ignorance is the ignorance of the true nature of reality, the ignorance of true nature of the self, the I, the mind, the intellect, and so on. So this fundamental ignorance, does it exist or not? It apparently exists, because everything we see mithya is an appearance. There is an appearance ignorance that needs to be cancelled by an appearance knowledge. So the Vedic knowledge is an appearance knowledge, is a mithya knowledge that has the potential to take the individual beyond knowledge and ignorance by recognizing that the only reality is the light of conscious existence, which reveals knowledge and ignorance, that reveals this world, beautiful, intelligent design by pure knowledge. And then Jivas trying to catch up with Ishwara, trying to get some knowledge of how my Ishwara, holds it together. But we are subject to wrong apprehension all the time, and more fundamentally, the wrong apprehension of the true nature of the Atma, the self. So therefore, we don't have any problem with that line of inquiry. They said that consciousness alone appears as various universe. But the point here is more philosophical than anything. It's like why Gaudapada is rejecting and the Yogacara Vada or vision, because it says, although it comes close to Vedanta, it has some flaws. It says, the Yogacara says that consciousness is the only reality, but it appears as the world. And here and there in our texts, we present that notion for the junior students. Consciousness appears as the universe. More precisely, Ishwara, the supreme Sattvaguna, intelligence, appears as the manifest cosmos or universe. No? So it says that consciousness appears as the universe. And then it says, when I see an object as consciousness, I see an object, one, it is consciousness. And when I see the object, two, is consciousness, okay? So there is one consciousness appearing as one object, second object, everything is consciousness. But in our experience, object one, two, etc., are flowing sequentially. I experience one object, then I turn to another object. So it gives the impression that since consciousness becomes the world of objects, consciousness is changing by becoming different object. But at the same time, it says, but there is only consciousness, but consciousness is appearing as the universe. They agree that it's a meteor universe, but they present it as it's a flow of appearance which are changed. The only difference, they say, yes, consciousness is the only reality, but consciousness change because the phenomenal universe is always change. If everything is consciousness, there is a superimposition of a meteor universe. The universe is change. And it says everything is consciousness, but consciousness has a certain degree of change there, okay? So the experience object in the form of a flow that changes each experience, and then he goes more into that. Based on this vision, Yogacara concludes that every experience is consciousness and only consciousness, because there is no experience other than consciousness. That concept that consciousness experience itself. Experience itself as what? As a phenomenal experience, phenomenal object, So this is just a compromise to satisfy the intellect of the juniors inquirers. No? Yogacara says that consciousness itself is a coming and going series. Consciousness modifies to become a dog, and then consciousness disappears to modify to become a cat, and so on. It's as if coming and going. It's not one eternal, unchanging consciousness, but several consciousness coming and going serially and sequentially. Yogacara qualifies consciousness as samika, vijnana. Vedanta says that consciousness is nitya, vijnana. So it's a one block of permanent, unchanging consciousness, which does not do anything, of course. According to Yogacara, the first experience comes as the first consciousness, then the first experience and the first consciousness go. So what is the experience number one? It appears as if experience is still somewhat connected to the phenomenal world to be experienced. So what is the fundamental first experience? No, because appears that consciousness appears with the object. Experience two comes, consciousness two comes as well. For Yogacara, consciousness is samika, vijnana. It's a series of momentary states of consciousness, okay? Consciousness modifying. So what is consciousness? What is consciousness? So these people, they believe that consciousness does not exist if you remove the phenomenal experience of objects. You know, they make it feel like there are many people in the new right. Some people I saw in the past, not many, I don't know. I don't look at what people say is out there for a decade or more. But some people they present this suggestion that they pick up in the in the the in the internet, you know, that consciousness is somehow intrinsically connected with the object. And the absence of the object, it seems that consciousness is also absent. Consciousness is the only reality, and they say that consciousness is emptiness or nothingness. But when in the presence of object, consciousness becomes the object. This series of momentary consciousness is the observer, and this series alone is Satyam. This is the conclusion of Yogacara. Gaudapada does not agree with this. Vijnana is Satyam, is acceptable, but Vijnana is Kasnaka, is not acceptable. The conclusion of Gaudapada is giving in the verse 28, an external world is never born. It's common to both Vedanta and Yogacara. The world was never born. It never exists really, and it's only an appearance of consciousness. We don't say that. I mean, actually, we say it's appearance in consciousness. No? An external world is never born and never exists really, and it's only an appearance in consciousness. Consciousness referred to here by the word chitam, with a special meaning, also does not appear and disappear. Its consciousness is the aspect chit, the so-called chit, the Brahman, knowledge, knowingness, you know, or the consciousness that allows dualistic knowledge to take place and self-knowledge as well. This is the negation of Yogacara. Yogacara says that consciousness appears and disappears. Gaudapada does not give the logic for the refutation of Yogacara in this verse. It will do in the next verse. But Shankaracharya discussed this system in several of his commentaries. In his commentaries of Bradaranyaka Upanishad, in the Brahma Sutras, and in other texts, Shankaracharya has analyzed each school of thought. Also analyzed these schools in the Upadesha Shaharis. Shankara gives a simple reason. So, you know, we go through all of this intellectual exercise to come to something that's very simple. Look at the reason Shankaracharya presents here. He asks, how does one know that consciousness is coming and going and changing? Who knows the coming and going of consciousness? The object cannot know itself. So consciousness becoming the object cannot know itself, because the object itself is non-existent, because there is only consciousness. It cannot be said that consciousness one knows the consciousness two, who became a second object. Consciousness one can never know about consciousness two, and consciousness two will never know about consciousness one, because they disappear to give place to the other one. And so no single consciousness can know the others, because each one lasts only for a fleeting moment. The knower of the flow must be outside of the flow. So how do we know that consciousness comes and goes? When we say that there is something that does not change to witness change, we say like, okay, there is a seer of everything that is moving and changing. And the sphere cannot change because you need to have an unchanging ground on which change can be observed. Okay, so here we say the knower of the flow must be outside of the flow in another language. The knower, consciousness, by which I know that there is a notion that consciousness appear and disappear. So a notion that the consciousness is just appearing to give room to the next consciousness and so on can only appear in consciousness. Therefore, there is a consciousness that is unchanging. Okay, so that they can contemplate the idea of changing appearing consciousnesses. Therefore, this theory, there is no one to know this change, whereas Vedanta says that there is a permanent knowledge, consciousness, that is the witnessing conscious principle that witness all the changing experience. And the changing experience are not changing consciousness, but changing thoughts. Simple, huh? Notions. Thoughts are flowing within the unchanging, unflowing consciousness. The ground of consciousness, the ground of existence, thoughts are flowing. And the flow of thoughts are witnessed by consciousness alone. And this consciousness is not subject to change. Changeless consciousness is the witness. The changing objects or thoughts in regards to objects. And even as the experience are changed, the thoughts are changing. Consciousness is not temporary. It is advityam. Ekam eva advityam. Gaudapada is teasing Yogacara by presenting the analogy that a bird flying in the sky and leaving behind some footprints. So it's similar to say that the origination of consciousness and the appearance and disappearance of consciousness is just a fact for someone who is tripping. With the refutation of this aspect of a Buddhist system, the refutation of all systems other than Vedanta are also over. When you think that Gaudapada and so on, Paramarthananda is going to be over with this, no, here comes more. He says like that Gaudapada wants to further consolidate this understanding. Oh my God. So let's follow him. Let's follow them. The unborn consciousness is born according to these disputants. Since being unborn is the intrinsic nature of consciousness, hence the change or transformation of the intrinsic nature of something that was never born because its nature is beginningless, is unborn. So hence the transformational change of one intrinsic nature is not possible. So intrinsic nature of something is that which is never not present and never change. It's the intrinsic nature. So there's no question of a fire being more hot or less hot, or fire is fire. The heat is the inherent intrinsic nature of the fire, and it will never change. If it changes, and then fire is no longer fire. No? It will never take place. If consciousness is by nature unchanging, as even this school presents, Yogacara presents, and then this idea that consciousness is changing, transforming in contact with the superimposition of objects makes no sense. And furthermore, the question of a universe or even consciousness being born is out of question. But here, let's say it's the concept of changing consciousness in contact with subjects is not possible because the fundamental true nature of consciousness is unborn and unchanging. Something that was never born can never change. This is another thing that another logic that was presented already here. If something was never born, it is beginningless, and it must be what? It must be endless, eternal, because only things that are born ends. Only things that are born die. If something is never born, it's because it belongs to a different order. And then within this order, there's no question of that, being born and die. So if any and everything that is unborn and it is eternal, if it's unborn, it's eternal, it cannot be subject to any change or transformation, because only things that are born goes through change and transformation, decay, and death. So the transformation will never take place. This is a very significant verse, says Swamiji. Gaudapada points out where all the systems uniformly commit the same mistake. All the systems that accept a creation will have to make this logical mistake. If this logical fallacy is understood, it will be very useful in understanding Mithya, because in Advaitam, the toughest topic is not Brahman, but is the Mithyatvam, nature of the universe. It's the most difficult to understand Maya, to understand Mithya. It's the most difficult, more difficult than understanding Brahman, says Swamiji. All these systems that accept that there is a creation, and therefore there is origination of the creation, a beginning of the creation, include modern science, will have to analyze how the universe was originated. All these systems seem to solve the problem. So the only way to understand creation is understanding that it's a Mithya creation that was never really originates, exactly like the dream world that just flashes like that and then disappears. In the same way, Gaudapada points out where the flaw is. He says that whenever you talk about creation, origination of the universe, invariably the question will come to the cause of the creation. So you cannot talk about creation without trying to investigate the cause, the cause of the creation. Any cause that you establish, the paramanu of Yayakas or the prakriti of Maya will raise another question of how that cause was originated. There is no end, it regress forever. So there is a cause for that. And then, okay, and that cause, where did that cause came from? Nothing comes from nothing. We see in this phenomenal Mithya universe, anything has a cause itself. The only thing that does not have a cause is the causeless consciousness of Brahman. But you don't find this causeless consciousness within the Mithya universe. If it is project within Mithya universe, and then it's going to have a cause, such as Ishwara 2 or Ishwara. Our experience in life is that every cause, every karana has another cause. To answer this question, this system say that there is a mula karana. There is a mula karana, uma causa original cause. Where am I? The cause. Our experience in life that every cause has a cause. To answer this question, these systems propose the idea of original cause. And they say that the original cause, that the human does not originate. The original cause is a cause that was not caused by anything, which is illogical to begin with. They say that this original mula, karana, or cause, is eternal. It's always there. Okay, it's something that exists, it's there, and causing everything else. Did Brahman cause this universe? Of course not. That's why we put the blame in Maya, because, how can Brahman produce or cause a universe? It would have to be within causality. Okay, we would have to find what's the cause of Brahman, and then we say is the causeless cause of the universe, but that refers to Saguna Brahman, Ishvara, which is caused by the power of Maya. They say that cause, this Mula cause, is eternal. And then Swamiji says this is a trap. Once a cause is said to be eternal, their system collapses immediately. There is no such a thing as eternal cause. And when we say that Brahman is an eternal cause of the universe, we need to understand that that is a compromise to the truth until we can understand that Brahman is absolutely not the intelligent cause, not the material cause, and not the energetic cause or anything, but Maya does so. And then things get more complicated because understanding Maya, according to Swami Ji, is more difficult than understanding Maya or Mithya. So the karana, the causal status of the universe, the eternal status, cannot exist. If you say that something is a cause, and if you say that it's an eternal cause, it's a contradiction in terms. Whatever is eternal cannot undergo any change. If it is eternal, this cause is eternal, and this cause cannot undergo change, and any cause has to go through change to produce an effect, as we have established several times in this last fourth chapter. Nityan has to be nirvikaran, and that which is eternal and permanent has to be something that never changes. This is a logical truth. Once the cause karana is said to be eternal, it cannot be a cause because any cause has to undergo change to become something else, to produce an effect. How can the eternal prakriti, how can the eternal prakriti evolve into this universe? How can the eternal prakriti, what is this eternal prakriti? So let's see what he's referring to there, because we hear about and we study about the prakriti of Maya, the most fundamental modification within consciousness, even before the three gunas appear, the three energies. How can that Maya, that's extremely subtle energy, how can the eternal prakriti of Maya evolve into the universe? How can the eternal Paramano evolve into the universe? Shankaracharya analyzed all this elaborately in the Brahma Sutra. He shows that karana, cause, cannot be eternal, and the eternal cannot be karana. Therefore, the cause of the universe cannot be talked about. What is the cause of the universe? It's better we don't even blame Maya for that. It's better we just say nobody knows and it's beyond the human intellect. But how so? Because, it is beautiful and attractive, intelligently designed and sustained, but we don't know how it came about. We don't know how they keep it all together. We heard that Maya does that with, in association with God, but what was the motivation? What was the cause of this? We don't know. So the only thing that will satisfy the human intellect is to understand that it's just a mirage-like projection without intrinsic reality. Why? Because we can make a parallel of certain things, being the mirage in the desert, one of the most relevant to explain this. There are things that they are available as appearance and experience, but they are not real. And there are certain laws and principles that cause those appearances, yeah? Such as the blue sky as well. So they are there. We don't know how they come about. Science trying to understand. I think by now, most probably they understand how a mirage takes place, and so on. The cause of the universe can be talked about. The only way is to understand that nobody knows, but we heard that it is a kind of a projection, apparent progression, projection, and Maya is the power which, is said to be the cause. But it's better even to say nobody knows, because and then you have to try to understand Maya. It's something impossible. How can one talk about the origin or the cause of the universe? Oh, no, it's karma, it's the jivas, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but what was the cause of the karma? Was the original karma? What was the original jiva? Ah, no, jiva is eternal as well. If jiva is eternal, and then jiva can never be out of samsara. Jiva should never die because, but the eternal jiva is this is a concept. Yeah, this is just concept, trying to pacify the human intellect in this quest to understand the cause and the origin of the universe. Okay, since the origination and the cause of the universe cannot be talked about, there is no origination of the universe. You say there is no origination, there is an appearance. Then what is all about this? It's a Maya project appearance, period. And don't ask me what is Maya, please. Because then things get even more complicated, early. Oh, it's something that, it's not really within consciousness, but it's not totally apart from consciousness. It's in between consciousness and Brahman and the cosmos. We don't know. The dream members, the dreamer, and all the dream participants who came to your dream, they were not really originate by any cause. Or we say, oh no, the Vasan originate. Yes, okay, but as an analogy, they appear like that instantly by certain power. They call it Nidra Shakti, that somehow convert those mental energies into images in the subtle realm, the subtle universe, very, very specifically relate to one's individual mind. The dream is an appearance. Similarly, the entire universe is an appearance called by Maya, says our scriptures. It has a conditional reality in the awakened state, just as the dream world has a conditional reality. This conditional thing is important. It appears here in this Mandukya, and we have seen several analyses of that. Now, how real the dream world is for the dreamer, whereas the awakened world is non-existent even to the dreamer. And then the dreamer becoming the awaker, sees the dream world as unreal. It does not see it as non-existent because it somehow holds some memories here and there of the dream world, but sees it as a conditional reality because when my mind changes, I experience different dimensions. know? Mental dimensions. You know? There is a physical, tangible dimension, this Vyavaharika, and then there are other mental dimensions in which us with different degrees of mental bodies experience, and this is all conditioned to the instrument of experience. I need a certain body. When we talk about all these different locus, so it's the same subtle body with different degrees of dimension that somehow access these mental collective realities, you know. Therefore, conditional reality must be given its conditional importance because it is conditional reality. There is no absolute reality in media. The only absolute reality is consciousness in which all these conditional realms occur. Being conditional reality, one should respect that reality, yes. So when you in the awakened state, so just respect and try to understand the laws that somehow maintains this Vyavaharika. If the dream dog chases you, run with the dream body. Don't just say, like, oh, where is my other body? You know, no, it's a dream body. The dream body, the dream dog relates to your dream body. Don't make a confusion. Yeah? Respect conditional reality, but never respect it as though it is absolute reality. In the Viveka Chudamani class, I said not to overestimate the world as absolute reality, but do not underestimate the world either. Don't believe that it's non-existent. It does exist as an appearance. And you yourself is an appearance within this media appearance. So what the heck is going on here? I am just an appearance, a navigator and transacting within an appearance. We are all mirage-like elements or participants, you know? And as I often say, it is the apparent mirage-like body-mind sense complex, and only in the case of the human body-mind sense complex that can understand the reality as the substratum of all irreality or apparent reality or just superimpositions. No? Therefore, don't say, oh, it's not real, I don't care. I don't want to know about Nietzsche. I don't know to know Shwara and what the principles and laws and Dharma. You know, it's all Nietzsche. It's just a mirage. Yes, but you are living within this mirage. You need to understand so that you can behave in a way that's going to be conducive to the development of certain qualifications that will allow you to get the reality within the unreality. So how I know that I'm not, it's neither, how I know that I'm not overestimating or underestimating this meteor reality. If you do your duty, you are not underestimating. But if you overdo your duty with much concern and preoccupation, you are overestimating this apparent reality as well. Don't underestimate, don't overestimate. Just understand that it is a projection and it is a structure in a way in which it's better I don't conflict with its laws and principles so that I can have a peaceful mind, develop some sattva guna so that I understand what is real within the unreal. What is real within the unreal? The unreal cannot exist without the reality. I said that to somebody the other day. The unreal world phenomenon, media, cannot exist without what? The ground of existence, the ground of consciousness, adhistanam, the base on which this projection takes place, the light of consciousness in which this universe shines. So that seems to be the purpose of this mirage. If you are not, if you are worrying too much, you are overestimate. Do your duty and do not worry. Be happy. This is a health way of living that's conducive to maturity and spiritual wisdom. How can people reject Ishwara, the teachings of Ishwara Jiva Jagat, and go directly into everything is satya, everything is consciousness, or everything is nothingness, anything. Even if you take consciousness to be full, whole, and complete, the only reality, if you throw away the teachings in regard to Mithya, what I call the Mithya knowledge, the Ishvara system, you, before you are really qualified to understand that all there is consciousness, satya, consciousness, the only reality. So you're gonna be okay. I'm consciousness. I'm satya. The world is me. All is good, but you're going to be just conflicting with this Mithya projection because you don't have a proper understanding of the laws and principles that structure it, so that you can live conflict-free, having a contemplative mind, able to inquire into the nature of reality in the light of these teachings. After refuting various theories of creation, Gaudapada mentioned the fundamental mistake, as we have seen. The mistake is that whenever we say that there is a mula karana, a cause original, the fundamental cause comes into picture. When we say that there is a creation, then we say, okay, what was the cause and what was the original cause, and so on. Gaudapada says that there is no original cause, and says also that beginningless cause is a logical contradiction. Beginningless cause is a cause without cause is original contradiction. Cause without cause. If there is a cause, it is within the realm of causality, cause and effect, cause and effect. If there is a cause, it must be within the law, the fundamental law of Mithya, which is causality. You need to have something outside of the scope of Mithya, of causality, to say that it's a cause and cause. But then Brahman is a cause and cause also does not stand much longer, because it does not really cause anything. Not even the mirage is caused by Brahman. It's caused by certain energies or powers or who knows what. We call it Maya. Whatever that does not have a beginning, cannot have an end, and therefore it has to be eternal in nature. This eternality of the fundamental cause of the universe is accepted by the systems and proposed a fundamental cause for creation. Gaudapada says that eternity of the fundamental cause pose a contradiction and a problem. To be eternal means it is changeless. We have seen that. There is no logic in attributing something as the original cause, which is eternal. Eternal original cause, it cannot undergo change if it is eternal, if it is there without anything that has caused itself. If it cannot undergo change, it cannot become a real cause. To be eternal is to go, not to be subject to any change. Whether it's a material or intelligent cause, so this is also interesting. We say, so Ishvara is the intelligent cause, the material cause. So, and then Ishvara undergo change. And that also has to be retracted later on, because Ishvara is pure sattva guna, is the substratum on which the other two energies, rajas and tamas, are mixed up on different proportions to create the subtle elements and the chemical, physical, and the entire universe from there. rajas and tamas. So sattva guna, pure intelligence, it must be changeless as well. Therefore, the original cause, the intelligent cause, as we say, of the universe being pure sattva guna, is as well not subject to change. Nityatvam and karanatvam cannot coexist like darkness and light cannot coexist in one place. Vedanta says that Nitya and Brahman remains Nitya without undergoing change, even if in the manifestation what is there is Brahman only. Creation has not come, and if you talk about creation, it has no origin, it has not originated, and it's only a projection, appearance. Therefore, origination of the world cannot be talked about. This is the weight of Vedanta. No? So let's move to the verb stuff. So you guys feel free to interrupt me. This is not my favorite subject, but even though I get something from it, a more consolidation of the understanding of that which is impossible to be known. And fundamentally because there is no cause and there is no real existence for this Mithya universe, you know? So we can simplify to that. How can you understand something, analyze something that is not really real? How can we make so many analyses and studies on the rope snake if the rope snake is not really a snake? You understand? So you understand that this universe is just a superimposition of consciousness and just relax with it.
I'm really enjoying the whole thing. I remember thinking, oh no, chapter 4, but you're making it very clear, and I'm very pleased with it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Meet. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciation, very much appreciate. It's not possible. Okay, the end of a beginningless samsara. Now he's going to bring the concept of samsara and moksha, which is, we have mentioned, we have touched it here and there. The end of a beginningless samsara is say that the mithya and the universe exists. Therefore, samsara exists. It's beginningless as well. Ishvara is beginningless, Jiva is beginningless, Jiva, and Jagat is beginningless, Jagata. Jivas get caught up and bound in Mithya. So therefore, we have the samsara concept. So everything is beginningless. The end of a beginningless samsara cannot be established. And the endless of moksha, which has a beginning, is not possible. So the concept here is that if everything is beginningless, and then samsara must be beginningless. If samsara is beginningless, it bounds the jiva in this illusion. There is no way to break this illusion because something that's beginningless is not subject to change, cannot be removed, cannot be cancelled, cannot be. Samsara is going to be there forever. Therefore, the idea of moksha as the endless nature of everything in this apparent reality is not possible if we say that ignorance is beginningless. We often see this topic in these terms. We say beginningless cosmic ignorance. So if ignorance is really there, it has some substance, and if it's beginningless, and then it's not subject to be destroyed. Those are the contradictions we see in our teachings. We say it's beginningless, ignorance is there, and people are suffering from samsara, this avidya problem, and so on. But the good news is that it has an end with self-knowledge, okay? So if it is beginningless, it can never be destroyed because it can never die. It was never born to begin with, it is intrinsic nature of this situation is ignorance. It's beginningless. And then it's never going to be removed. And moksha becomes just impossible. Huh? You understand? Everything in our teachings at certain point has to be rejected because it presents logical contradictions. Huh? A question may arise. Gaudapada said that what is eternal cannot be a cause because a thing has to undergo change to be a cause. Now, a serious question from modern science is why is it said that what is eternal cannot undergo change? So now he's taking us to science, modern science. Now, a serious question from the modern science is why is it said that what is eternal cannot undergo change? Why do you not consider matter, that science studies? Why do you not consider matter that we are experiencing? Matter cannot be created or destroyed. The science has established. Matter is therefore eternal. Okay. So, but they say, but the eternal must undergo change because we witness change. The material world has always been present because cannot be destroyed, therefore cannot be created, but we perceive it as changing. It cannot be created or destroyed. Matter undergoes change, it's a fact before our eyes. Why can't we accept that matter of the universe is eternal and changing, which is a contradiction? Because if it's eternal, it should not change to be extincted. Gaudapada does not discuss this scientific inquiry directly, but this question needs to be addressed by me, the Super Swamiji. If you say the world is eternal, this one has to give up. First one, if you say that the world is eternal, first one has to give up the idea of the creation of this world or universe, because what is eternal can never be created. If you drop the idea of creation or origination, you cannot talk about original cause of the universe. You say it's eternal, matter cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Therefore, if it is eternal, it was never created. If I drop the idea of creation, origination, and then I have to drop the idea of original cause of the universe. When the world is not an effect of a cause, you cannot talk about original cause of the world. Once a universe that is eternal and without a beginning is accepted, cause for the world becomes irrelevant. So the logic is so beautiful, so simple. Once we subject ourselves to this intellectual analysis. Once a universe that's eternal without beginning is accepted, there is no cause for the universe. You should just forget about the cause because it's eternal, without beginning and without end. Science has established that. I'm just pointing that. But science has a problem. But we see change. There is a contradiction there. It's without beginning, without end, but it changes. And this is most probably what is being unfolded here to explain some of the flaws of these other schools of thoughts that try to defend the idea that the universe is beginningless, is endless, but it's a constant flux of change in which consciousness, the only reality, appears as a changing universe. So science accepts that the universe was never created, therefore the universe does not have an original cause. The universe is eternal, and the universe is always changing also. That is will make them scratch their mind, their head, says, how can it be possible? Why can't we accept such a universe which is eternal, which was never created, but it changes all the time, which is a contradiction. Gaudapada answers in this verse, once you accept such a universe, you have stepped into mithya. Mithya is the Dvaitam, yeah? The Dvaitam, the duality, experiencer, observer, and observed, experiencer and experienced. Once you accept the universe, you are before what? The phenomenal universe. So you are the seer, the universe is the seeing. You are the experiencer, the universe is experiencing. You are the knower, so you are in duality. Once you accept reality, or attribute reality to this universe, you are in Dvaitam. And then you have to take Dvaita to be reality, duality to be reality. And then you are saying that Dvaita is real. If you say that it's real, it's eternal. And then you have two principles here. You have consciousness as reality and eternal, and the world, which appears as a projection, but yet it's eternal. So we have duality here. Duality in the form of I, the subject, and the world of phenomenal objects. If the world is accept, it is acceptance of duality as reality. Dvaitam, duality, experiencer and experience invariably calls samsara, because if we are living within a dualistic realm in which the objects are really real, and then it's justifiable to say that I'm caught up with what I like and what I don't like, then I suffer. I'm bound to this Dvaitam, this duality. So if I accept duality and then I accept samsara, Dvaitam is samsara according to the Veda. Not that we can cancel duality, experiencer and the world being experienced. We cannot cancel, but we can cancel the attribution of reality to this projection. Dvaita is samsara according to the Vedas. In a changing world, mortality cannot be avoided. So, if the universe is beginningless, it should be eternal. Anything that changes in a way that's going to decay and die. We see it all around ourselves. Mortality is samsara. Dvaita is samsara. Mortality is samsara. And mortality is what the Jiva Atma is mostly afraid of. This notion that the mortality of the body, the physical body, represents the end of my existence. Therefore, accepting an eternal universe is accepting eternal Dvaitam. And if I say that Dvaitam is eternal because it was never created, I have to accept the eternal of samsara. If I accept the eternal of samsara, and then moksha becomes just irrelevant. Science cannot talk about moksha, but it talks about samsara. He wants to know things so that they can be more happy. Science cannot talk about moksha, but they can talk about samsara. All the systems, including the Nastika ones, are working for moksha only. They want to be happy. They want to feel satisfied. The beginningless duality will never end, and the spiritual sadhanas will be useless. What are the spiritual sadhanas of all scientists? Their sadhanas is observing phenomena to try to get knowledge that can give them a sense of limitlessness and happiness. Everybody is working for moksha in a way or another. And for the sadhakas, spiritual sadhakas, doing sadhanas, those sadhanas become useless. The answer then is that Dvaitam is eternal, but this is nice, eternally mithya. Is eternal superimposition. What was the cause? We don't know. We don't want to know. We don't care. If you want some some hint of it, it's Maya. Maya is the cause. In Advaita, we do not have a scope for moksha. In Advaita, non-duality, we do have a scope for moksha because we also accept that Advaita, duality, is eternal, but it is apparently eternally mithya or mirage. And we can claim liberation because the eternal mithya can never accept the true nature of the projection, which is the sand in the desert sand or consciousness. We can claim liberation by standing consciousness as consciousness, the real substratum, the real adhisthana of this projection. We claim liberation because the eternal mithya can never affect my, my nature as limitless conscious existence because it's a superimposition or projection between myself as Satya. In Advaita alone, moksha is possible. So if all other schools, if they really think about what they defend, they have to see, so why you are doing sadhanas? Because you do that because you want moksha, and the very structure of your vision, of your theory, is in contradiction to the possibility of freedom. Oh, no, there is a freedom. Freedom is when somehow who knows? You leave this physical realm and you go to Brahmaloka maybe. Okay, we stop here. We meet again soon, this Friday on Gita. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. We meet again on Friday.
Thanks, Arlindo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlindo. That was great.
Thank you.
Okay.